I've been rocking my Sony A7s III since the day it came out. So me and Sony, we close, like we like this. We ride together, we die together, bad boys for life. Everything the light touches is our kingdom. So when they popped up with the perfect vlogging camera, the Sony ZvE1, they had me at hello. But then also this perfect vlogging camera kinda confused me a little bit. Alright, just finished up a little bit of work. And believe it or not, I actually went into work today. That's why I'm in Amsterdam hugging the block. But it's time to go home. But before I do, we gotta talk about the brand new Sony ZvE1 because it confuses me. But not only does it confuse me, it's like I'm confused, I'm a little frustrated, and I'm also a little mad, like all at once. Now, again, it is an amazing camera. But pimpin', if I'm being real, there are some things that we need to address. First of all, y'all already know we ain't gear chasing, no gear chasing over here. And then secondly, it is an amazing camera. But pimpin', do not go out rushing to go get this thing. Always wait, give it a breather, wait a bit, and see what everyone else is saying, like the common consumers, then by all means, go get it. But just not right away, not right away. Now, after doing my initial review, as soon as I hit the upload button, I had started thinking. And I was thinking like, I don't know if I'm really gonna get this camera. Like, I want it, but I don't know if I'm gonna get it. And I'll tell you why. The first reason being the price. I think this camera is too expensive. $2,200 is a little too expensive when you think about who this camera is marketed to. Now, it is a video first vlog camera, meaning that it is the perfect cameras for vloggers as well as just everyday creators who are doing YouTube or something like that. It is perfect for those people. And now I am one of those people, but it's an expensive vlog camera because there are so many other options, especially with Sony alone. For example, you have the Sony ZvE10, which is going for about $800. And don't get me wrong, yes, it is an APS-C, but it is actually a good camera. It's decent. Now, it's not my flavor, it's not my cup of tea, only because of the rolling shutter. But for the most part, if you're looking to start and you're a creator or you're a vlogger, $800 is right up your alley. And I mean for something that you know you're gonna use on a daily basis that will last. And then you have the Sony FX3, which is, again, an amazing camera built like a tank. And it is more built for the professional, like a beginning professional, only because it is more of the cinema line of the camera. It's running for about $1,800 and it's also an APS-C camera, which isn't bad. Again, it's not full frame, but it is APS-C and the quality out of it is solid. Like it's good. And then if you want something more full frame, more professional, you could also go for the Sony A7 IV, which is a full frame camera, can do the job just as well, and it's going for about $2,400. And yeah, it's a little bit more than the Sony ZvE1, but in my opinion, it is just as good and maybe even better if you're not counting all the bells and whistles, like all the gimmicks that you get with the Sony ZvE1. If you're not counting that stuff, the Sony A7 IV is just as good. And it's only $200 more. $200 more! Like, that's what confuses me. And that's why the price of the Sony ZvE1 by far has to be the biggest con of that camera. Wow, everybody out today, it is gorgeous outside. Look at that, holy cow. Now, one of the biggest pros of the camera is the size, but I think that's also a con. Because yeah, the body of the camera is extremely small, extremely tiny, but pimpin', when I think about it, and if I think about just throwing on my Sony A7s III, the 16-35 lens, the G Master Gangsta Mode lens on it, then that completely changes the size of the camera. Like, although the camera is small, it's still really big once you throw a lens on it. Oh, look at these guys. Wow. But yeah, as soon as I throw that 16-35 lens on it, it becomes a huge camera. Like, it's, yeah, I mean, the body's still small, but yeah, it's still a really big camera. And now something else that makes me kind of second guess the camera and why you might want to think about this camera too is that I mentioned this in the last video and I said that it just looked kind of cheap. Now, I don't have the camera, but yes, it definitely looked kind of cheap. And finally, like two of my guys, two people who are ninja bosses, made videos and they said the exact same thing. Terry Warfield as well as Jared Undone said the exact same thing, in which the camera feels kind of plasticky and cheap. And now, if I'm honest, I wouldn't mind it so much, but the price kind of still kills it. It's $2,200. And although it still is a video first vlog camera, the reason it bothers me is because it's a vlog camera, so if you drop it, most likely it's gonna break. Yeah, the build quality may not be that great with the buttons and the body itself. It may not be that great. Ooh, man, not for nothing, it is nice. Dang, it's like really nice. Crazy busy over there. And now since we went ahead and talked about the build quality and size, we definitely gotta mention the internals, like the heat management issue. And I am happy to say that everyone that I've watched, every reviewer that I've seen, they all had one thing in common, which is that they're all kind of on the same page when it comes to agreeing that heat management can be an issue due to the size of the camera. And luckily it's not anything crazy, it's mainly when recording for a long period of time. And obviously at like a normal frame rate, meaning like 24, 25 or 30. Recording at those frame rates, you probably won't have any sort of problem, especially if you're like stopping and starting. Like you'll be completely fine. Even with 60, stopping and starting, you will be completely fine. Because again, the problem occurs when recording for a long period of time. Just hit and record and letting it roll for like an hour. That is where all the reviewers are finding their issue. So yeah, man, that is a lot of people up here. Like, look at all those people. All right, made it to the train station just in time to go over the last reason I'm not sure if I'm gonna get it, and maybe, I'm not sure if maybe you should get it either. And that is just the shade that Sony is like indirectly throwing. Let me explain. I think I have some time. But yeah, what I mean by this is that Sony's given all the, like this camera, the Sony ZvE1 is an amazing camera, besides the price. But yeah, just an amazing camera, right? We can all agree. But why didn't they update the Sony A7s III? I mean, I'm a Sony A7s III owner, I'm filming on it right now. Why can't these features all these features that the Sony ZvE1 has, why can't these features be on the Sony A7s III? Besides the AI stuff, I totally get that because the Sony A7s III does not have the AI chip. You know, matter of fact, I'm not even talking about just the Sony A7s III, but the Sony FX3, the Sony FX30, and even the Sony A7 IV. Why can't these cameras have those features? Why has Sony not updated these cameras? Like, there has legit only been one update since I've bought this camera. When it first came out, there's only been one update, and that is it. So that's kind of where I feel some of the shade is coming from, because of the fact that I could easily just say, why did I even buy the Sony A7s III? But then on the flip side of that though, I also feel like Sony's throwing a little bit of shade, and this is something to be aware of, because this also you may not want to get the Sony ZvE1 after hearing this. But I also feel like Sony is cooking up some good. Like, I wholeheartedly think Sony will be dropping some new drip soon. Oh, I think that's my train down there. Leave it in 1 minute. Oh man, nothing. I almost missed the train. Almost. But now let's talk about who is this camera for? Who would I personally recommend the camera for? Because I am right up Sony's alley when it comes to this camera. Back in the old Harlem. Now nothing. Harlem is boss. I would have to go ahead and say that I would say it's definitely for the everyday YouTuber, and also might be right up the alley for someone who travels a lot and is also already a part of the Sony ecosystem. And I'm not saying it's not for somebody who's not a part of Sony's ecosystem already, but again, since it's a full frame camera, even though you could use APS-C lenses on it, you would probably be better off if you were already in Sony's ecosystem with like lenses and all that other stuff. But yeah, I think it's definitely made for content creators. It is a great content creator video camera, but only if you have the bag, because I'm telling you, I think it's too expensive. That's just me, but it's too expensive. And now look, I ain't a cheap dude. It's just when I think about the other cameras, like when I did the comparison to the other cameras earlier, I just think it's too expensive. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it brings the sauce, but again, as a vlogging camera, as a vlogger, it's an expensive vlog camera. But Pimpin', those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to buy me a coffee, Pimpin', don't be shy. The link is down below. But if not, no tea, no shade, because I ain't a hater. My hood never let me be a hater. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Actually, who am I kidding? I gotta get it. I gotta get the Sony ZvE1. I gotta do it for y'all. So Yeah, I gotta get it. Thanks again for watching, guys. I will see you in the next one.